Well, let's not forget this man, Lachlan Renshaw too, 24 years of age. He ran a PB in Melbourne as well.
And that's when you have the calibre of Rudisha here, that you are capable of doing a personal best. And this has been a great opportunity for him. And hopefully it'll again get him a personal best tonight.
And then the big two about to be introduced to the crowd. The man who actually wasn't first across the line in Beijing, but the winner was disqualified, and this man inherited the Olympic Championship at 1,500 metres.
The reigning Olympic champion over the metric mile. Please welcome from Kenya, Asbel Kiprop.
Great to hear the crowd. This is the last event of the night, still here, and why wouldn't you be when you get the opportunity to see this man run?
And if you thought that was a good reception, wait for this one. 1:41.01 is his best time. In fact, he broke the world record twice in the space of 8 days last year. Can you believe that?
I remember watching him in Melbourne running 1:43, I think I remember last year. And then just to see him run that 1:41.01 is extraordinary. He actually ran the first 400 of that in 48.6 seconds, which is mind-boggling, Peter.
He's getting a big build-up.
Taking down Wilson Kipketer's mark with a 1:41.09. Then 8 days later, at a little town.
In fact, the build-up may take longer than he's going to take to run the 800.
Figures of 1:41.01. Ladies and gentlemen, the world
looks very modest, doesn't he? And here he's a great guy.
He did look almost embarrassed by going through all of those achievements. But when you're that good, people are going to talk about it. So David Rudisha, the man that all eyes here in Hobush are on just at the moment. But Asbel Kiprop, who's going to start from inside him. Remember, they'll just get to the cross point in the back straight at the 300. And here is the start list for the men's 800, the last event of the night. And it features Asbel Kiprop, the Olympic 1,500 metres champion, Lachlan Renshaw, who ran a PB in Melbourne from the New South Wales Institute of Sport. But the man they're all looking at is the world record holder, David Rudisha of Kenya. That man coming out of lane number 7, 1:41.01. Nobody has ever run the 800 quicker than him. Away they go on the 800. And so Tanguy on the outside is the man who's going to pace Rudisha. Gurr going reasonably quickly in the early stages. Now Tanguy will cross and he'll bring Rudisha across with him. And the man in lane 1, Matthew Hammond, is also intent on being up there early on.
Now Tangui's been instructed tonight to run a 49.5 for the first 400, which is faster than Melbourne, where he was instructed to do 50.2. So we should hopefully see a faster time from David tonight.
So effectively, you can forget the man out in front. He is the bunny, Sammy Tanguy, and he's just setting the pace for Rudisha. Now Kiprop is sitting in third place at the moment, so he's about 2 metres behind Rudisha. Hard to imagine the 1,500 metre runner is going to be able to outkick an 800 metre runner. Renshaw is in fourth place at the moment. Hammond is in fifth. They go through the first lap in 50.66, and Tanguy trying to crank it up a bit as they go into the last lap.
Yes, Tanguy realised he's probably gone through a little bit slow there, so David Rudisha now really has to take off, and Kiprop is going to try and stick with him, and look at Lachlan Renshaw. Lachlan's looking very nice at the moment. He really needs to get into a position where Kiprop doesn't get too far away from him.
He doesn't so much run as float, David Rudisha, and look at him float down the back straight and increase the lead out to 6-7 metres now to Kiprop, who's got a battle on his hands to hold out Lachlan Renshaw. Hammond is in fourth place at the moment, but David Rudisha, we said it in Melbourne, he's in a class of his own. His time for the 800 metres would indicate that. Renshaw gets up on the outside and runs by Kiprop, and Hammond is running on well. But look at David Rudisha and look at the time. The world record holder wins the 800 in Sydney. Rudisha beats Renshaw, and in third place Gurr, and the time 1:44.81 or thereabouts.
He is a really classy athlete. I don't think you'd probably be all that happy with that time tonight, 1:44 comparison to Melbourne, but another great run, seeing a great champion. And I have to say, Lachlan Renshaw had a great run on the way home. I'll be very interested to see what his time ends up being.
Yeah, Kiprop just didn't have the kick, and that was always going to be the worry with him being a 1,500-metre runner. And it was Renshaw who was able to out-kick him. And
Which
it might
is a
have
great
been
scalp for Renshaw.
Yeah.
To take the scalp of someone like Kiprop. It's always good to be able to beat an Olympic champion.
And running up into third place, just not sure whether it was Garrett or Gurr there at the end, but they were that far back from this man, and he made it a one-act affair, David Rudisha. So he'll probably be a little bit disappointed with the time, but a win's a win. He did it very comfortably, and it was never really in doubt. And it's a real thrill for us and all of the crowd here at Homebush Bay to see this man in action. And he does love coming down to Australia. He said after Melbourne that he was probably going to keep this preparation next year as they head towards the London Olympics.
And it seems to have worked, as we've said earlier. He did 2 world records within a week, and it is a great preparation for him. And he'll be wanting to get out this year and win the World Championships in South Korea.
Well, let's hear from him now. Here is the world record holder, David Rudisha.
Well, right in front of the kids here, and you've become somewhat of a superstar here in Australia in particular. We already know what you can do on the track, but Australia's embraced you the last few weeks. You must love it.
Yeah, I love it. Coming here and train and have some good races and in the beginning of the year because I was happy last year because it did well for me, and I was happy to come here again this year.
It's obviously very early in your campaign. You've run consistently around 143, 144. I mean, you didn't look ecstatic after that time, but how do you feel after the last couple of runs in particular?
Yeah, last 2 weeks, I ran 143 in Melbourne. It was great, but today I think it's because the weather was not as good and the track was a little bit wet.
2 questions. Are we going to see more of you in Australia? Hopefully the answer to that is yes. And secondly, Daegu, South Korea, later this year, World Championships. It's one of these things that obviously, along with an Olympic title, is that what you're looking for in your career. Do you feel like you're on track to be world champion in a few months from now?
Yeah, that is my aim this year because I'm trying to focus to see that I get that medal in Daegu.
David Rudisha, it's an absolute pleasure, and the crowd will let you know it, I'm sure. Congratulations tonight, well done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great to have him here in Australia. He is the darling of the fans, and they're all going to try for a prized autograph from the world record holder. David Rudisha, 144.80, wins the men's 800 from Lachlan Renshaw, 146.08, and it was James Gurr getting into third in 146.62. But the world record holder, simply in a class of his own, Asbel Kiprop, finishing in 5th place in the men's 800 metres.